Season's over in bloody March, guys. Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football. Yes, it's a new day, but I have not forgot yesterday's result. The referee is right in my mind. Manchester United are right in my mind. And although we've got an 18-day break without football, I'm still not feeling good. I don't know about you guys. If you are still mad about the result yesterday, make sure you smash a like because it's all I think about. And to make it worse, we've got so long without football, which, I mean, it might be a good thing to be fair. No United for 18 days. No United to ruin my weekend. That's good. But to make it worse, I'm seeing leaked reports this, leaked reports that. It's Bruno's fault. I'm just thinking, stop putting blame on everybody. That's first of what I'm thinking. And second of all, personally, myself, I'm disagreeing with what Paul Scholes and that lot have said. I'm going to get into what Paul Scholes has said. I'm going to give you my thoughts on that, but I'm also going to give you another Manchester United fan's thoughts on that. We've got a guest. I'm about to bring on Kian, the football obsession. I'll put a link to his channel down below. I'm interested in his output on the game and his thoughts on Manchester United. And we haven't had guests on the channel in a while, guys. So if you do want me to get guests on more often, let me know down below. Might do like maybe a podcast thing called the Man United Meltdown, where we get fans on after the games to get other points of view. So let me know if you want me to get more guests on the channel. Make sure you smash a like, make sure you subscribe. But let me bring on Kian. Kian, just tell me how you feel right now about the result yesterday.
Right now, I'm absolutely gutted. Just exiting Old Trafford last night, I couldn't have felt worse. This season in general has almost just ended all of my hopes for Man United succeeding recently. Anyway, the beginning of the day, we were just talking about it against Leeds. We thought we were winning the league at some point.
It's mad.
And last night, I'm going to be honest, I really don't think the performance was actually too bad. I don't think it was. It wasn't a catastrophic performance where you say that is unacceptable from Manchester United, but they outsmarted us. We have to. I've been saying for weeks we have to be smart enough not to fall for Atletico Madrid's.
Yeah, they shithoused us.
Yeah, shithousery. Yeah, and we fell for it. The referee fell for it as well, and that's a conversation that needs to be had. He should be investigated, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, there's a stat as well that came up saying that 51% of the time in the second half was spent out of play, which just shows the time wasting. And he only put 4 minutes added time on as well. And that we could have had a penalty. That was a 50-50. The one on Elanga was a 50-50. For me, it was a foul on Fred. But the thing about the refereeing that annoyed me the most was when Llorente hurt his foot and he was getting in our passing lanes as well. I just thought there's something not right about that ref, to be fair.
Yeah, the crowd. I'm not sure whether you were there or not. I assume it would have been. You would have been able to hear it on TV. And from myself being there, we were all actually sort of trying to get the referee's attention at one bit in the game. I did make a tweet last night about this. There was a medical emergency in the crowd, and we tried to get the game to stop, and the game wouldn't stop. We tried for around 10 minutes. And that was the part, I think, that sort of really annoyed all the fans with the referee. And from that point onwards, we were just on the referee's back, and nothing could have been done about this referee on the night. However, conversations need to be had about him refereeing future massive games, such as Manchester United versus Atletico Madrid.
Yeah, and I always think, and I don't want to be accusing him of match fixing and all of that, but it was a bit dodgy. But I always think it's always Spanish versus English games. I think we had a lucky call versus Real Madrid a couple of years back in the Champions League. There was Chelsea robbed by Barcelona. I don't know why. I think it's a coincidence that it's the Spanish-English games where there's always a ref slightly in favour of the Spanish side, and I always think, is there something going on there? But I don't want to blame the ref completely. We didn't score a goal. We didn't take our chances. I think the ref did influence the game because I don't think we were that bad. And what's frustrated me is actually, I'm going to read out what Paul Scholes has said. And he's sort of going and blaming Rangnick and blaming a manager. And personally myself, I think, maybe Rangnick could have done better, but I don't think the blame's on Rangnick. I don't think the blame is really on individual players. I think, we could have done better for the 2 goals we conceded across the 2 legs against Atletico. But for me, I think the referee was bad. I think everyone's a bit to blame. But what Paul Scholes said, I'm going to read it out now. He said, if you look at the group of players at Manchester United, they're not bad. There's some talented players, but for the last 2 years or even longer, they've not had an elite coach. Paul Scholes then goes on to say Atletico are not a better team than Man United. They've got a better, more experienced coach in Diego Simeone, and that's why they won the game. Scholes also said, I think there is more pain to come before we get where we want to be. He says that Manchester United need an elite coach that strikes fear into the players. And he said he does not know why Rangnick was chosen to be manager of the club for 6 months. For me, I think it does not matter who is manager. I think we could have Pep Guardiola as manager, and I think we would still not be doing much better than we're doing right now. I think the problems are deeper. Like, what is your overall thoughts on that?
I can agree. Now, with Paul Scholes' comments, I find it's a little bit more complicated than it actually is, because I do believe last night, if Diego Simeone was managing Manchester United and Ralf Rangnick was managing Atletico Madrid, we would have won that game. However, the blame isn't on Ralf, because Diego Simeone is a master of what you would call the dark arts in football, with the shithousery and the wasting time and everything like that, and putting fear into his players. However, Ralf is here for 6 months as an interim manager in order for him to go upstairs and sort of do his more experienced role as a consultancy role, working with the club. Now, I think that was a good decision from the club. I think Ralf has done pretty much everything he can as interim manager right now. We haven't done too badly if you actually look at the results, despite being knocked out of the Champions League and the FA Cup. Now, I do agree, if you did put Pep Guardiola in with that side, not much would change. I've said this since October, November. I've been saying the squad is full of lazy, bad attitude players. Maybe the previous manager, Solskjaer, wasn't the best manager in the world, but I don't believe that all blame lies with him. I don't believe that all blame lies with the coaches either.
I think he was too nice to them, which has maybe fueled their egos, but maybe his niceness has caused a slight problem. But it's not all on him, because I think these players will throw any manager under the bus. I mean, there's already stuff being leaked already.
Yeah, I've seen something about Bruno Fernandes. Now I'm not sure whether to take it with a pinch of salt or because obviously there's a lot of things that are gonna come out, and that have come out within the past few months. It's been almost every single day at this point.
Yeah.
And Gary Neville has even got to a point of calling this out and saying this needs to stop. I do believe that once we get a permanent manager in, I do believe it's going to take a while. We need to give him time, but it's just whether that time will be given. Because I'll give an example of Arsenal, and I hate to give an example of Arsenal.
Yeah.
If you actually look at how they gave Arteta time and the signings that they've made, it's working very, very well. And the Arsenal team are quite obviously not as a United fan, but if you look at it from a football point of view, they're actually quite a likable team with the players. This team, they're not very likable. It sort of reminds me of the 2018-19 team with Chris Smalling, Alexis Sanchez, etc. It reminds me of that, where they're not very likable. Harry Maguire. Now, I will back Harry Maguire all the way, and I will do with most of our players. However, he can't be a captain. He's not a leader. I don't believe that saying he's not a leader is a criticism towards him, because I'll give an example. Me, myself, if I was playing for Manchester United, I do not believe that I would be captain or should be captain, because I don't believe that I'm a natural leader, and some people aren't just born natural leaders. However, I do think he should give that captaincy up.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, as I said this earlier, it's also like when you're captain, your job is to command the players. When in times like this, it's partly your job and the manager's job to turn it around, because as a captain, you're there to motivate players.
Yeah.
And if you're a player and you're seeing the performances Harry Maguire's putting in, and he's telling you to step up, you're thinking, F right off, mate. Honestly, I feel like he's losing the respect of the players because his performances have been so bad as well. And I'm at the point where I don't think Harry Maguire is actually that bad of a centre-back. I will say that. I am a bit harsh on him. I don't think he's that bad of a centre-back, but he does not deserve to be starting for Manchester United right now on current form.
No.
And that's what I have a problem with. And I think we could blame Harry Maguire for the loss. I look back at both the goals. He could have done better. But I just think it would be easy for me to sit here and blame Harry Maguire when I think there's dodgy refereeing. A lot of the players have got attitude problems at this club. A lot of the players weren't at their best. And I'm a bit frustrated going back to the Paul Scholes comment that he is literally going, oh, get a better coach. They shouldn't have got Rangnick. For me, as I said, it makes no difference who the coach is. And going back to what you said about backing the coach, we need to get a coach in, but we need to back the coach. Because for me, we can look at the players, you can look at the manager, you can blame them, it's easy. But the biggest bit of problem I have with Man United is the structure of the board. If you get a manager, do not decide who that manager buys and sells. Be like, you know what? Do what you want. Do what you want. I'm fully backing you. And I think that is the only way we can move forward. I don't know if you agree or not.
I do agree with that, actually. Again, you can take Arsenal as an example. Again, they've got Edu there working with Arteta, and it's working very well. And hopefully, what RALF will be working with whoever our next manager is. Obviously, we know who the two front runners are currently.
Who do you want?
I would prefer Erik ten Hag. However, I wouldn't mind Mauricio Pochettino. I did have an Ajax fan on the channel last week speaking about Erik ten Hag, and I was speaking about Harry Maguire with this Ajax fan, and he was saying Erik ten Hag would want another centre back to replace Harry Maguire, a faster centre back, as he relies on that. Whether we get that or not, I'm not sure.
I worry with United that Erik ten Hag won't want Maguire, but the board will say we're not selling Maguire, and that's what I think causes problems. Because if he doesn't want Maguire, and all of a sudden he stops playing Maguire, that will cause dressing room unrest, because Maguire's a figure in the dressing room as well. And I think it's very important that if we do get ten Hag, he let them work closely with Rangnick and let them just do what they want. Do not go, no, we're getting this player because he's cheaper. No, we're not selling this player. Let them do what they want. For me,
I agree. I do agree. He has to be able to. Again, Jose Mourinho couldn't really do what he wanted. We got Jadon Sancho 2 years too late, which possibly prevented us from getting a holding midfielder in the summer, which isn't the answer to every single issue that we have, but it's definitely an answer to some issues that we have.
Now, I've got a question for you, because I know you're a bit of an Ollie fan, okay?
Yeah.
I know you backed Ollie quite a lot. You weren't Ollie out when most of us were. Do you think Ollie could have made a difference? Do you think it'd be different if Ollie was here?
It's a very difficult one, because evidence this season suggests otherwise. However, I do feel that he would have been able to turn it around and get some form of togetherness in this dressing room. A lot of the players don't look together. They look like I always say, and I remember saying it back when we had Louis van Gaal as manager, you've got to want the ball. You've got to want to play well. You've got to want to play for this team, and you've got to want to walk off the pitch tired and work your hardest. And I believe Solskjaer did get that out of them last season. In lockdown, I'll give an example. When we beat Manchester City 2-0, it was a very good game.
Could have won 3-4-0.
Yeah, and there was a form of togetherness there. Something went wrong this season.
FC.
Yeah, something went wrong this season, and it's hard to say exactly what that is. I think many things went wrong at the same time.
Yeah.
And I do believe that Ollie may have won that game last night, but again, evidence suggests otherwise. So I'm going to say, no, he wouldn't have won that game last night. However, I do believe he would have got us into the top 4.
Really?
Yeah. I just believe that form would have just picked up. I believe his personality is too good for these players to just stay sort of not playing for him.
Yeah. My problem with Ollie was his football was unsustainable. It sounds weird, but I actually think the football we're playing under Ralf Rangnick, we actually look better. Like when we lost yesterday, I was like, but we were the better team. When we was 0-0 with Watford, I was like, we played quite well. When we got knocked out by Middlesbrough, we played quite well. But a lot of the times we played shocking under Ollie, and it was like a moment and a win. And I don't know if maybe the just momentum for Ollie maybe ran out because we were riding luck as well. But it's
very difficult. It's very difficult because it's almost like Solskjaer. You could make an argument that he was one of the luckiest managers in the world with the amount of moments that we got under him to win the game when we didn't play well. However, when we are playing well under Ralf Rangnick, we're not getting them. We're not putting them chances away. We're not winning them games. So he's unlucky. It's almost the complete opposite. We are playing. I believe that there is an improvement. It isn't vintage Manchester United by any stretch of the imagination, but I do believe there's definitely an improvement there.
Definitely. Okay, I've got one last question, and it is summer clear out. Are you getting rid of if you were in control?
I don't want to be too controversial. I would send Marcus Rashford on loan, despite I love Rashford. He's probably last season he was probably my favourite player in world football. I would get rid of David De Gea. On current form, I would drop Harry Maguire. I wouldn't get rid of Harry Maguire. I would. I'm not sure about Ronaldo, whether he will still be here. I would let Paul Pogba go. I like Paul Pogba, but just because we've heard since 2017, is he going to stay? Isn't he going to stay? And that's not helping it matters at all. There's quite a few players that I would let go. Juan Mata, I feel I would let him go as a footballer. However, I believe that he needs to be around the club. I believe that.
I love Mata.
Yeah, he's a personality where, in a lot of personalities with these footballers, you don't really like. He's a personality where you can say he's a class footballer, in the sense of he will really try his hardest, despite not being currently the best. And he loves the club, so he will try and sort of implement some form of good vibe or mood around the club. And I feel that is needed. It's understated how much that's needed, in my opinion.
Yeah, for me, I think you put a tweet saying Marcus Rashford could be having like a Sterling season where he has this one bad season, everyone writes him off, and then he proves he's good again. And that's what I hope's the case, because I think with Rashford only being 24, I'm willing to give him another season at United. I felt honestly, Rashford makes me feel devastated because he was one of my favourite players, and he couldn't have been any worse on the pitch versus Atletico. Like, he can't even string a pass together at the moment. I don't know what is going on with him, but he was so good for us 2 seasons ago that I just think there's something wrong. It needs to be sorted out, and maybe he needs a loan to get that Lingard resurgence. But I wouldn't sell Rashford, but a lot of United fans would. However, I disagree with you. I would sell Harry Maguire because I think we should be going for Ten Hag. I think if Ten Hag's available and he is available, we should go for him. He will not want Harry Maguire. I think we sell him. He's nearly 30. I like Matic, but he needs to go. He's old. We need to replace him, though. I like Mata. He needs to go. There's a couple other players that I'm not the biggest fan of, but I just think Cavani will go. I would love Pogba to stay, but I think he needs to go. There's a couple players that I'm a bit like, Tellez, is he good enough? Wan-Bissaka, is he good enough?
I don't think Wan-Bissaka's good enough. I'm not sure whether you've noticed. I've not tweeted about him too much recently, as he's not playing well. But Tariq Lamptey, Delow's been better. Tariq Lamptey, though, is one of my dream signings for this team, for this United team. I would love to see Tariq Lamptey in this team. I just think he's going to be on the top level in a few years.
Yeah, and I think Ronaldo would go. I'd keep Ronaldo for mentality. I think, I will be honest with you, Ronaldo's got the right mentality. I think De Gea's got the right mentality. Varane's got the right mentality. I know he hasn't been in great form, but I think Bruno has the right mentality. And I know it's debatable whether he's good enough for Man United or not, but Scott McTominay has the right mentality. I think they're the only 5 players I can say their mentality right now is
I think Fred, I would argue that he's got the right mentality. He always tries.
Yeah, he's got the right mentality, and I actually was saying this. Fred's been quite good lately as well, especially in the Rangnick, and which is nice to see. But I'm going to wrap up the video here, guys. Make sure you check out Kean's channel, The Football Obsession. I'll put a link down below. Let me know if you want me to get guests on more often to discuss United situations. Maybe make it a series where I get guests on every couple of weeks. Let me know down below. Thank you for watching. Make sure you smash a like. Make sure you subscribe. Bye.